Hello, and welcome back to another Daily Top 10's Top 10 video. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 10 memorable moments from presidential inaugurations. They're some of the biggest dates on the U.S. political calendar. So, with Donald Trump's inauguration this January, now is the perfect time to take a look back at some of the most notable moments from inaugurations past. Number 10. Eisenhower gets all tied up. One of the more peculiar moments on this list took place over 60 years ago at Dwight D. Eisenhower's first inauguration. Perhaps reflecting the then popularity of Western and cowboy films, the well-known trick roper Monty Montana rode up to the president-elect on a horse and whipped a lasso around him. To be clear, this is planned. This is what was meant to happen. If nothing else, Vice President Richard Nixon got a laugh out of it. Number 9. Take 2. Barack Obama's first inauguration in 2009 was historic for a number of reasons. It had the largest inauguration attendance in U.S. history. It boasted the highest online viewership for an inauguration. And, of course, it was the first time that an African American was sworn in as the President of the United States of America. But there was one other reason it was historic. It is the first time a president said the oath incorrectly. In fairness to Obama, this wasn't his fault. The error was Chief Justice John Roberts, who got some of his feed lines mixed up. To ensure that the administration got off onto the right foot, the Chief Justice organized a hasty do-over the next day in the White House map room. Number 8. Hot and cold. President Reagan has the distinction of having the hottest and the coldest inauguration dates in history. In January 1981, he enjoyed a little winter warmth with a noon temperature of 55 degrees. But the tables turned for his 1985 inauguration, which was so chilly that the trumpeters' lips froze onto their mouthpieces. Number 7. The People's President. In an effort to not just appear to be a president for the people, but to act the part too, Jimmy Carter made a point to walk the distance from the Capitol to Pennsylvania Avenue. He was considerate enough, though, not to ask his kids to accompany him the entire mile-plus route. Instead, they took shifts. First his sons, then his 9-year-old daughter. His wife, Rosalind, was by his side the entire time. Number 6. White House Crush. This is what it is to be loved. So popular was President Andrew Jackson in 1829 that he was forced to escape the crush of adoring supporters through the White House window. That didn't stop the throng from pushing on, though, destroying the building's furnishings in the process. The only way that the White House aides managed to get the crowds to leave was to deposit tubs of whiskey in front of the gates of 1600 Penn. Number 5. Watergate's Washout. There's no doubt that the Watergate scandal managed to collect plenty of political scalps. One of the beneficiaries of the fallout was Gerald Ford. With his inauguration in 1974, he became the first person to hold the office of both Vice President and President of the United States without having been elected to either. Vice President Spiro Agnew's 1973 resignation allowed Ford to take his first steps towards the Oval Office, with Nixon bailing the following year, paving the rest of the way. Number 4. President Acheson. The laziest U.S. president ever was President David Rice Acheson, who literally slept through most of his time on the job. Never heard of him? Well, to be fair, he was only president for one day. The least famous president also likely had the least impressive inauguration. With President Polk's term ending on March 4, 1849, a Sunday, his succession, Zachary Taylor, refused to be sworn in on a day of worship. As such, Acheson is believed by many historians to to have served as interim president for 24 hours until Taylor could get the inauguration he desired on Monday the 5th. Whether this is all true or not is lost in the sands of time, although we do know that Atchison claimed that he spent most of that fateful Sunday sleeping, following a busy few days in the Senate. Number 3. Air Force Inauguration. With the shock assassination of JFK in 1963, the U.S. couldn't be seen to be without leadership, hence the extraordinary events surrounding Lyndon B. Johnson's inauguration. It took place on Air Force One, and he was sworn in by Judge Sarah T. Hughes, to date the only woman to have ushered in the administration of a new president of the United States. Number 2. A man of few words. The shortest inauguration speech was delivered by none other than George Washington, whose second address came in at just over 130 words. Washington is generally regarded by scholars as one of the 3 or 4 greatest men to serve as President of the United States. So we guess when you're performing as well as he was, it makes sense to let your actions speak for you. Number 1. A man of too many. On the other side of the coin from Washington, perhaps not literally, is William Henry Harrison, the man who gave the longest inauguration speech. He was also the shortest-serving official president, dying of pneumonia 30 days after he took office. Interestingly, many historians believe that the length of Harrison's speech and the length of his tenure might actually have been connected. Despite a whirling snowstorm, Harrison decided to forego a hat and coat during his nearly 2-hour address. And some think that this is where he first caught the chill that would blossom into pneumonia. In essence, if Harrison had the mind to deliver a, say, 130-word speech, U.S. history might have been very different. Thanks for watching another Daily Top 10's Top 10 video. And remember, it's our duty to entertain and yours to subscribe.